What is up, guys? Son of Canadian Rider here. Today we're going to be doing a full oil change on my 2006 Ducati Monster S2R 800. You guys know, I just picked this bike up. I'll post the cards above of my walk around video and the reveal video. It is in great condition. The thing is about it, I don't have all the maintenance records for this bike. I don't know when the last time the oil change was done. So the best thing to do, especially before winter storage, is to make sure that you change out the oil in your motorcycle or your car so that over the winter, all that bad contaminants aren't actually doing anything to your seal. It's always good to have a fresh new change of oil inside of the actual engine just to make sure everything's kept clean. So when you're at spring, all you need to do is go ahead and have a good ride. So I have everything here today. I have Rotella T6. That is the oil we will be using for this Ducati Monster S2R. And I use the same oil for my Ducati 899 Panigale. And a lot of people will say, aren't you supposed to use Motul 300V or 7100? Those are great options as well. Motul actually recommends 300V only for track or competitive use. It's not meant to be like a street riding oil, just an FYI. But throughout my history in my family, through my dad's trucks, all of my cars, Rotella T6 has been really good, and it is JSO certified. So you don't actually need to worry about this oil if it's actually meant and supported for this motorcycle. It absolutely is JSO certification on Rotella T6 synthetic oil. It's a great oil. A lot of people always talk about this oil. I'm a big firm believer of it. So I'm gonna be using this on this Ducati Monster S2R 800. Now, we also have the oil filter. So I have this oil filter, and again, everything in this oil change, I'm gonna be linking in the description box down below. So if you need anything regarding this, just go ahead and check that out in the description box. But basically, have the oil filter, I have an oil filter wrench, I have some ratchets, I have an oil catch can, I have a nice big red trolley here, which I can get easily underneath the bike, and I have the bike put on the motorcycle stand, the rear stand. So the rear is up. It's gonna make changing the oil really easy. Now, one thing I highly recommend you do, I've already done it for this bike right now, start the bike. Go out for a little ride or just start it for 10-15 minutes. You don't wanna get the bike super hot, but you do wanna get it nice and warm so all the oil will come out really easily. So the first thing that we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna take out the oil drain plug, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys everything in that regard, how to do that, remove the oil filter, and we're gonna drain everything out. Oh, sometimes I feel like I'm getting a bit too old for this. So what you're gonna need is a 10 mil Allen. So I have this 10 mil Allen, and I'm gonna show you the drain plug's just under here, right by the oil filter. So I got this on my ratchet. We're gonna go ahead, and I have my oil catch pan here, and you're gonna remove the drain plug first, okay? Once we remove the drain plug, everything drains out. We're gonna go ahead and remove the oil filter right after that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this right now. So I got my 10 mil, we're gonna go here. Again, it's just right over here, and we're gonna go ahead and loosen this up. Again, just be careful, guys. It is gonna be hot, and this is gonna be a little bit of a tight pull. Ugh. Okay, there, it just broke. So I need to just stand to do that. So it just broke off. Okay, there we go. All right, I made a little bit of a mess, and I'm gonna grab that bolt and put it right here. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this up, and this is why you wear gloves, so just clean up a little mess here. Let this fully drain. We wanna make sure everything drains completely, and then we're gonna move to the oil filter. All right, so the oil's draining, and I'm just cleaning up my mess. I'm gonna link some shop towels. Shop towels are always a much needed asset for any DIY mechanic in their garage. So this is the oil plug, and you see there's a little magnetic piece here that actually collects some of the remnants from the oil. This could be, you know, metallic particles in the oil, etc. And it'll give you a gauge of, like, you know, how good condition is your engine. So there is a little bit of metal shavings here, just a slight bit of metal shavings. I wouldn't say anything too major, but what I'll do is go ahead and take a shop rag here. I'm just gonna clean this off. I just wanna clean off these metal shavings just to make sure everything's clean when it goes back in. So you can see here that the oil is coming out, and it is now pretty much drained from the oil plug, which is great. Now we're gonna take off the oil filter. So I'm simply gonna reposition this here, and you can see there's still some droplets happening from the actual drain plug. So I'll just keep that there. The droplets will still come, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove this. Now, You should be able to sometimes just remove this by hand, but unfortunately this is a bit tight for me, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. I have, and they come in a lot of different flavors, an oil filter removal tool. It's just basically a grip, a vice grip that goes around it, and you're gonna remove the oil. Now what's cool about the new oil filter that we got, and I'll show you guys here again quickly. So what's cool about this, it's got a 17 mil head at the top here, so you can very easily tighten and loosen this oil filter in the future. So we'll keep that to the side. Let's go ahead and remove this oil filter. So I'm gonna just grab it. Again, you don't wanna crush the filter, but you need to get a good grip on it to remove it. Okay, it's coming. It's getting loose. It's getting loose. Okay, it's loose enough that I think I can take it by hand. Yep, so now I can take it by hand. So it's coming off. Again, be careful with your hands if the oil is hot. You're gonna take this off. There should be a lot of oil that comes out of this too. Okay, great. So this is a Ducati oil filter. Nice, okay, so I'm gonna let that drain. Wonderful. So now you're gonna be looking at your new oil filter because this is the new one that we're gonna go ahead and install. This is extremely important. You need to make sure when you install this, do you see this seal here? You need to make sure you get a little bit of engine oil and just lubricate this. This is gonna ensure a seal and you're not gonna have to worry about any oil leaks. So here, I'm just using my hand, I'm collecting some of that used oil and I'm just lubricating the seal, making sure it's nice and lubricated. So that way it's gonna seal completely in the filter housing. So that's nice and put together and nice and lubricated. So you can see there's still some dripping that's happening here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the oil filter in right now. And all you're gonna do is just turn this into place. So you should feel it lock in. Great, and I'm turning it into place. I feel that I've caught the threads. Okay, great. Now, my hands are slipping. I can't really tighten it because of my gloves, they're oily. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this, my gloves. I'm gonna take my socket, tighten, and we're not gonna over tighten this. As soon as we feel any major resistance, we are done. Like we don't wanna over tighten. Okay, it should just be hand taut. Anything more than hand taut is too tight. Okay, that feels good. Like that is good in terms of its tightness. And we're gonna obviously check to make sure that there's no leak from here and that you don't need to retighten it, but you'd rather under tighten it, test it, than over tighten it. So there you go. I think that's good right there. Now, I can't really tighten it much more by hand. Cool. Just clean up the oil filter a little bit. This is gonna help us identify if there is an oil leak, where we can find it. All right, that's nice and clean. And again, you're gonna get some oil on the exhaust here. That's fine, it's gonna burn off. It's not the end of the world. I'm gonna just clean this up a little bit there. And then we're gonna take our drain plug, which has been cleaned, but I'll give it another wipe again. Okay. So now the drain plug is nice and clean. And we're gonna go ahead and put this back in here. Just make sure you don't cross thread here. Make sure you get it in the right way. Okay, great, it is in. It looks good. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab the 10 mil hex or Allen. And we're gonna go tighten, and we're gonna tighten this up now. Again, hand tightening. Do not wanna over tighten this thing. Okay, hand tightened, that's good. This is now finally where we're gonna go ahead and put in the oil. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this cap. This is the oil cap on this motorcycle. I'm gonna put my oil funnel in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and get the Rotella T6. And this Ducati model requires about 3 quarts of oil. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go put 3 quarts, and we're gonna see in the sight glass if we're good in terms of what oil is left in the bike. So we just put the rest of the oil in here. Right here, I think is perfect. We are just above the min line. just above the min line on the oil fill. Here's the max line. We want to make sure we're just above the min line. If you wanted, you can maybe add a tad bit more, but I'm happy with this. And I'm gonna go ahead and simply remove this. I'm going to be putting the oil cap back on. And we are going to level the bike, check the oil again, and that is it. That is how simple it is. So that is how you change the oil in the 2006 Ducati Monster S2R 800. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box down below. Give this video a like if you actually found it useful, and subscribe to the channel, guys, for more content on this motorcycle and more. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.